ready to rock out. So let me see who's here. Day_life of Jack. Simple Passion Clothing. Jenny from the chopping block. Jenny, I told you I'm going to remember you because of the way that you have branded yourself. The Beauty Shark Ginger. Chauncey. All right, Chauncey told me I'm golden. That means yes, they can hear me. All right, so let me bring on the first person I'm going to bring on right here. And I think maybe I should just tell you a little bit about the person before I bring the person on. Because I know that when people are introing me and I'm sitting there, I feel a little weird. So that's why I'm going to read you about him. So Matt Clark, I'm bringing on Matt Clark, and he is the executive chairman and co-founder of Amazing. Built 3 successful companies before he turned 25 and created the Amazing Academy. Now you may be asking, what is this Amazing Academy? Well, it's about how to work and or master Amazon. I know that a lot of you are going to go, what are you talking about? Because the last time I brought him on, people were like, isn't that destroying small businesses? But nothing can be further from the truth. And I think every single one of you guys and girls out there need to know a lot of the tips and tricks and or ways to be way more proficient on there. So let me just bring him on right now, and let me see what other questions I have for him to get him set up. All right. Well, let me tell you exactly what he does. He helps people build successful businesses and achieve financial freedom. Amazing Selling Machine is complete, and it's a step-by-step program that walks you through every part of starting, growing, running, and scaling businesses. Now, here's some of the people that he's worked with in the past. Sir Richard Branson, Robert Kiyosaki, and Sarah Blakely. So if Sarah, who owns Spank, who Spanx owns retail stores, if Sarah is working with him and she owns retail stores, and many of you either have gotten your Spanx products from Sarah's retail stores and or on Amazon, then it obviously shows that it does not kill small businesses. But I don't need to just say that, because he's been featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur, Business Insider, and more. All right, so let me bring him on here. Boom, first hit. All right, waiting for Matt Clark. What's up, Matt?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Oh man, that is a nice, crisp, clear broadcast. I can hear you now. I know last time we were having some challenges. I'm not sure if it was myself or you, but either way, you're back.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me here.
Nah, no problem. So, listen, I want to jump into it because, we're on usually from 1 to 1:45 or 1:30, and I want people to, just get as much value out of this. And I think you and I are doing a webinar. I think we're going to be doing a webinar. When are we doing it? Tonight? Okay. So we're going to be doing a webinar, a free webinar tonight at 7 p.m. Central, where you're going to go way into other deeper issues and tools on how to build businesses leveraging the power of Amazon. But for those who may be busy at that time, who may want to record it, or I don't know if you can record it, but catch it later, things of that nature, let's just talk about the Amazon platform. And the reason why I wanted to bring you on is because, as people think sharks know everything. And a lot of times you may see us on the, on TV, and when we're doing deals, we'll go, I just can't add any value to you on this deal, right? Because we don't know everything, and I really wish people who are in business or kind of fronting on social media can stop acting like they know everything, because the old saying is, if you think you know everything, then you'll never learn anything again. And the reason why, I think that I'm successful is not because I can barely read. I'm dyslexic. I'm short. I got left back in school. But the reason why I think I'm successful is I know how to, when I see good people or when I know information, meaning mentorship, however the reverse mentorship is, I find the people, I take the information from them, I learn from them, and I share with people. But a lot of times people don't get to see behind the scenes the people like a Matt who I go and reach out to and say, I don't know enough about Amazon. Let me talk to you, because I just don't have enough time to, on Shark Tank, I can't just say, hey, do me a favor, let Matt come out and tell me what to do right now. So now everybody's getting to see people like you weapons or tools that I use in my chest, or whatever the case you want to call it, or reverse mentors or influencers who can give them some of the information that I seek every day to make me better and better and stronger. So I want to start asking you some questions. The first question, because we're going to talk about Amazon and how you can use it and how everybody can use it right now. Is Amazon something that kills small business?
Yeah, it's a good question. We get that a lot. And I mean, I would say absolutely no. It's, we've had so many people that have built small businesses because of Amazon. In my opinion, it helps more than it hurts, because I mean, you can go on there with very little resources, very little money, and they'll take care of a ton of stuff for you. Saying, Amazon kills small businesses is like saying that all these products back in the day that got into Walmart and Best Buy and everything like that was killing those businesses. It's not true. It's just a part of business. Now, we're not sitting here, we don't work for Amazon or any of that kind of stuff. And so for us, like you just said, it is a tool to do business. It's not the whole business, but it is a great place to get started, especially if you're starting out with limited resources, no brand history, because there's hundreds of millions of customers just sitting there waiting for you.
And I think that you're answering, what's the name? Wasn't Carl Golden Jr. said, what about brick and mortar businesses? That's what we're talking about, Carl, because think about it like this. If you have a brick and mortar business and you're in Manhattan, let's say you're even on Fifth Avenue right now and you're in Manhattan, and that's obviously a great heavily trafficked area. You are in that area, and let's say in Manhattan, 400,000 people walk by that store a day. I doubt it's 400,000, but something like that. But how many people are on Amazon's database, or how many people hold Amazon accounts, man?
Yeah, I know they have a little bit over 100 million Prime members alone, which is people that literally pay money every year to be customers of Amazon. And they have, a few hundred million that are active customers that shop there basically every single month.
Right. So the theory is this. I have my brick and mortar store, and in my brick and mortar store, I know what's working, what's not working. I know that this is my 80-20. 20% of my goods and 80% of my sales. But I still got to have people walk in. People who walk in. So let's say it was 400,000. Well, let's say I'm selling something for females. Well, how many are female between the buying ages that they have a credit card or a cash of 20 to maybe 40, or maybe they're older females, right? So now the 400,000 people go down to maybe about 30 or 40,000 who are buyers of your product. You may be making or selling something that is class of the mass, or you may be selling luxury, or you may be selling whatever the case is. Now you're down to that amount. Now on Amazon's platform, 100 million, you said?
100 million Prime and a couple 100 million total customers.
That's just 100 million Prime accounts. That means there's probably 300 million people on that account, right? Now, out of the 300 million people, see, your store is only getting that amount of foot traffic, but if your products, once you work it out and get to know how well one does and not, once you then place it on Amazon, you just hit 300 million potential people. All right, let's narrow that down. 40 million potential buyers of your stuff, and that's exactly why they both work. I sell my books in Barnes & Nobles and online. I still go to Barnes & Nobles. There's 500 people waiting there, and people who don't want to necessarily go online or go into Barnes & Nobles, or they read digitally, they buy it too. So, I mean, these are examples on how both of these things can help all the, all different aspects of your store, whatever it is, brick and mortar, or you're selling out of your house and selling.
Yeah, for sure. And the good thing about Amazon is, you could take an individual person, just literally one person, they can sell one product on Amazon that may be kind of a niche product, not even anything in the top 10,000 best-selling products on Amazon in any individual category. And that product can be doing $1 million a year. And that can be a business that one person owns, running it by themselves, only selling on Amazon, which is kind of what you're saying is, like, rather than having to get a whole bunch of people to buy different products locally, you can reach a whole bunch of people distributed all over the US, or in Amazon's case, all over the world. And sell, there's something like 3 billion products for sale on Amazon, and there's a lot of them that sell a ton like that.
But here's the key on why I think people can learn from you that was amazing to me, and I didn't even understand this. If you're right now somebody who is employed or unemployed, or you have your own stuff, you don't even necessarily have to make the product at home or develop the product, become this great inventor, have your house filled with boxes and shipping labels, and also find a platform to attract people. Because right now on Amazon, just show the basic, simple ways that you can take this thing and do it with little to no money?
Yes, that's a good question. So I actually pulled a couple products. I'm here kind of at our video studio. So we've got products that are members, not members. But like this product right here, for example, is just like a hip and joint supplement for dogs. And so this kind of product, there's a lot of these that are generic. And so if you go out there and you do some research on Amazon and you find that these products are selling really well, there's reasonable amounts of competition, you could go out there and have your own brand of these. This one is Genuine Naturals. Not super familiar with it. It's probably just a smaller brand. And you could have your own brand on there selling the same exact kind of product, fulfilling the same exact need for customers, and get started pretty quickly. And then later on, like maybe after you start talking with customers and reading reviews, you're like, you know what? If we added this little extra ingredient or if we changed the flavor, then this product would sell even better. But you can start with something more generic and then later on, go more custom like that as you get more experience, more money, more time, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's millions of products like this that you can sell.
But let's get really clear. That product already existed from a manufacturer that was selling it. And are you saying I need to bring that product into my house and now label 1,000 of those units?
No, I've been there and done that before when I didn't know anything, and it was a nightmare. I was literally printing labels. My wife was sticking them on bottles and that kind of thing, 10 plus years ago. But nowadays, it's like you can literally just Google like hip and joint supplement for dogs, private label. You add private label after to help you find the right manufacturers, and you'll find thousands of them that you can just contact. And then as long as you have a logo and a brand name that you make up, then they'll put all that stuff on the products for you. They'll ship them into Amazon, and then Amazon will handle the shipping directly to the customers.
Okay, so let me give some people a little bit of insight. How many people on here watching me have gone over to Asia, to any of the big markets during market month? In Shenzhen, I believe it is. How many people here have gone there? Just let me know if you've been there, because I don't know, Matt, have you been? You've probably been over Asia, right?
Yeah, I haven't been to the Canton Fair yet. It's on my list. It's like we've had some marketing things that are right that month, but I've been there and I've visited factories and at other times of the year.
Okay, well, of course, the Beauty Shark Ginger knows. I mean, I went over the years ago. So when you go to the Canton, I think it's Canton Fair, it is literally 3 football fields of buildings. And it is buildings of manufacturers who all come into there. They've set up a booth in a shop, and you will see hundreds of thousands of products that, I don't care if it's spinners, I don't care if it's undergarments, I don't care if it's lotions, it's just there, and it's all the factories bring it there, and they just say to you, here's how much this costs, and we sell it either by the dozen, by the gross, or by whatever the case is. And you're like, can you relabel it? I like the product. Can you relabel it Daymond's vitamins? Or they go, absolutely. Now, I want you to, of course, be ethically, behind what you're doing. So I'm not saying go out there and just take some crap and then just sell some crap. Because if you don't believe in the product, then that's a whole different issue. We're not talking about the ethics right now. I think you should have good ethics and morals in what you do. But that's what they do. And what Matt is sharing with you right now is you don't even have to take that trip. You can go and like he's showing you the thing for hip dysplasia probably, or hip issues. I'm sensitive to that. I used to have 2 big dogs, and they have that matter or issues. Or I was telling Matt the other day, you know what? Every single summer, because I happen to have a large farm and a large property, I don't want to run wires and put those lights in, because then in the winter when the snow covers it in clouds, they'll break all my lights on the ground in the driveway and stuff like that. So every year, you know what I find myself doing? I find myself buying 100 new solar lights, and I always don't know if the brilliancy is going to be good enough or whatever. And I'm giving an example right now, if a manufacturer doesn't know how to position that in the right way, but if you say, I have the same issue, you know what? This is the best light, period. I'm going to now do little videos on it. I'm going to show you how it works, and and then on this site, Amazon, when you go into it, there's just way more information about this light, and this light is Todd's or Tanya's light. You can build a company off of that, because what happens is the traffic of all the Daymonds looking for these lights will sit there and say, wow, I looked through all of them, and you've been on Amazon, you see the same product 16 different times by different sellers, and I go, this one is giving me all the information I need. Let me buy it from this one. And Amazon itself, they have the customers looking. They have, you now deal with the manufacturer and just get your product named underneath yourself, and they ship it and sell it for you, and you make the money. Is that a good way of analyzing it, Matt?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And the cool thing is too, is that, it's not just one product for that kind of thing that sells well on Amazon. Like, just like you go to the grocery store and one person's going to buy one soup and another person's going to buy a different soup. On Amazon, if you were buying those solar lights, you may have a modern house, a more like ranch style house. And so you may want different kind of designs of these things. So there could be multiple people all selling very well, tailoring to different segments of the market, but all selling on Amazon for the same keywords, which is a cool thing.
What I realized last night alone is I realized I like those lights first. I started over there, and then I realized they have other lights that can shine onto the trees, at night. And then they also have other lights, solar, that you can stick onto the deck. And I know that I'd rather not have to spend all this money, running electricity through all these things. And now I buy 5 different type of lights, right? So I think that's a good thing. But if I have to relate it to how I started, and this is how I tell everybody with clothing companies to start, is I didn't go and make my first t-shirt myself. I went and bought Hanes t-shirts. I cut the label out of them, stamped my name FUBU inside the middle of them, and then put the logo outside of them. And then I went and I put them on the wrappers. And we call it in our business, we call it white labeling. And little do people know that, I don't know if they're still in business, but American Apparel has a huge white label business where they'll sell you American Apparel stuff without even the American Apparel name in the neck. And that's what we do. And we call it white labeling because they're giving it to you basically white and it's clean, and you label it the way that you want to label it. And that's what we're trying to tell people to or show people that they can do from home right now, whether they're employed, not employed, or of course, there's so many different tips and things that you can do for people right now who may have retail stores who are like, I don't even know my customer anymore because they're not walking by me anymore. How do I get out to other customers right now because I was so busy only thinking about the customers walking into the store?
Yeah, and the cool thing is I saw somebody commenting like, I want to sell somebody else's product or an existing product. It's so easy now to create your own brand of just about anything. You talked about like going to China. Like, the other path is just to do it from your house. You can go to a site called Alibaba.com, and that's where you can find manufacturers all over the world. If you can't find it through a Google search, so you can create your own brand of just about anything at this point. In just a couple of days, pretty much, you could start getting the manufacturer to put your logo on it, and then 30 days they'll typically have it over to you, and you can have your own brand of just about any product out there. I got this one too. This is a pretty cool one. Yeah. One of our members actually created this thing, and it's called Cozy Phones. But they created this product, and it was like super high quality, and they didn't really invent it. They kind of made a few modifications, and because of this, they ended up with a licensing deal with Nickelodeon. And so like that kind of stuff is possible because they wanted their brand name, they had a cool product, and now he's got a super successful business where he was
thank God you just answered that, because when you put that up and I just saw the Paw Patrol on there, I was about to say, man, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you anymore, man. You're infringing on people's properties. And now I just said ethically you got to do the right damn thing. But so you're saying that they came out with that and then they went and got a license from Nickelodeon for Paw Patrol. Yep,
that's exactly it. Yeah.
So I just think there's so much information people learn, and I'll tell you another thing. Right now, I mean, I don't care. Listen, if you own a beauty salon right now and you were so busy saying to yourself, listen, I got 10 operators over at my stations, and they rent the stations from me. I don't sell a lot of retail product because half the girls steal the damn product and use it, and I don't got time to keep going and opening that thing for $3, $4 bottles. However, all those hairstylists now, each one of them have 200 customers that they see, and now you equate that by you had 8 stations, that's 7 other people with 200 customers apiece. That's 1,400 people right now, and you're able to say, you know what, since we're not open, you can't come in here. Here are all the type of products we use, and or do your blogs and say, here are the things that you need for your nails or for your skin or for your hair. And whether it's curling equipment, whether it's chemicals, whether it's dyes, I think that you can start a new business right there instead of sitting home going, Jesus Christ, I don't know if I'm going to even pay the lease anymore. People may not be coming in to get their hair done because they don't have any money, and I don't know when I'm going to open again due to COVID. Maybe I have underlying issues. I don't even want to be in that damn place. Like, this can be done in so many different ways, current business owners and or people who want to get in business. It's fascinating why people don't understand the value that they can do right now from their house.
Yeah, and yeah, I've always thought it was crazy. People in kind of service-oriented businesses like chiropractors, for example, like on their shelves, they'll have supplement after supplement of somebody else's brand. I'm like, man, so easily they could have their own brand of that. Just like you're talking about with a hairstylist, same thing. And now they're building this successful brand, and they have higher profit margins because there's not the middleman of the brand in the middle between the manufacturer and you. So they're making more money up front, but they're also building a valuable asset, which is the actual brand.
Right. What other suggestions? I know we're going to do this webinar tonight. What other suggestions do you have for people to go through this? Because I know that you do, like, listen, I have a curriculum that's 8 hours, and I think that I've told everybody everything in my curriculum. I mean, I think your curriculums go 30, 40 hours. Not that it's going to be 30, 40 hours tonight. It's going to be a free webinar for people to get as much information as they can. What other advice would you give them right now?
I mean, first off, we'd love to have them there tonight with us. So it's amazing.com/shark, and you can join us, like Daymond said, free webinar. Other than that, I mean, like, you kind of, you know, if you're just starting your first business, would get clear what you're trying to get out of this. Do you want to replace income from a job? Do you want to build wealth in your business, eventually sell it? All that sort of helps clarify what kind of product you sell, and where you end up going with your business. Because, I mean, we're going to recommend people start on Amazon. And remember, Amazon isn't your whole business. Amazon is a great place to get started. And then eventually you may want to sell on your own website using Shopify, for example, or maybe in retail stores. But getting started on Amazon, critical first part, then selecting a product. And that's all going to be influenced by the goal that you choose. But after that, it's a matter of just taking things one step at a time. And if you hit a roadblock, just keep pushing through it. Reach out to other people. You know, don't quit, because this business can be incredible for just about anybody as long as you keep going.
All right. So, and somebody just asked, they just asked, what is the website? All right. Somebody, and Jenny from the Chopping Block just put it in. But yeah, so I'm going to give my final comments on that as well, right after I let you go. But it's head over to amazing.com/shark. And Jenny from the Chopping Block had already put it in there. Amazing.com/shark. All right, man. Thank you so much, Matt. And I'm going to see you tonight and see everybody else tonight on that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And thanks, everyone, for watching.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Don't go nowhere. I got somebody else coming up, but I want to just elaborate a little bit on what he was saying, and what else advice that I think you should do. I'm always going to go into all my theories of power broke and all these things. Don't do anything because you only want money. The coupling of wanting money and the coupling of doing something you love is going to be the one that is going to make you successful. So as you listen to Matt and you learn from Matt, what I want you to do is go around the house and think of all the things that you have said, there's got to be a better way, or there's confusion in the market. I mean, I know, like, the CBD market is very confusing, right? I see CBD that can put you to sleep, CBD that can keep you awake, and I obviously know a lot about that, and I know a lot of people that use it a lot. But if you're somebody who's a big CBD user and you have a very specific way you use it, there's people who use it for arthritis, there's people who use it for working out, there's people who use it for anxiety, various other things. When you go on Amazon, look for things you like. Like me, I probably would, if I didn't have this life or this position I have, I probably would be a light seller like my buddy Cody, but I'd be selling yard lights. Or if you are an animal lover, or you're a chef, or like you are somebody who works in a profession of beauty, go to the things that you like, and then you'll find it exciting. Because if you're only doing things to just try to sling the new spinner, you're not going to be excited about that unless you love spinners, right? You got to do something you're really excited about, because then hopefully you'll be talking back and forth to your customers, and you'll be growing. Before you know it, you'll say, hey, I started off doing this. It was just, and you see this always out of Shark Tank. I started off doing this. This was a hobby, and then all of a sudden it started to grow. And I decided the products I was getting were good, but I decided to increase and do them in a better way, or take this ingredient out, or put this ingredient in. Maybe you're gluten-free. Maybe you have a nut allergy and you find some things that you really love, but they got gluten in nuts, and you can't find a better way to make them without the things that are making you sick. So you make sure that as you add your love of whatever you have, and we all love 100 different things, add that love and passion to this knowledge and the skill. And you know what? Why don't you try it also with products that you love? Because let's say, what's your worst scenario? You put in an hour or 2 hours a week on this thing, and then your job comes back and you go back to work. But then all of a sudden you realize how much fun you had and you get back into it because you just learned the simple basic rules on how to sell on Amazon. Remember, I showed you a video of the other day where it just was a little straight line that my mother showed me how to sew when I was a kid, and that helped create who I am today. Maybe one of your goals in the next 2 months is I'm going to learn how to use Amazon, whether it's I'm going to help my friend, whether it's I'm going to help myself, or whether I'm going to move my company towards this direction, or I'm going to give my significant other a job to do because they're sitting around on the couch playing video games all day and they need to get to work because I'm the one bringing home the bucks. So anyway, one way or another, make sure that you do that. Thank you, Matt. So you said thanks for having you. Now I'm going to bring on somebody else here, and a lot of you may know him. But know him from being a TV fan and not knowing that the man is also a consultant, a financial advisor, and he's managed to pivot various different times in his life. And his name is Jason Tartick from The Bachelorette. Do you remember Jason Tartick from The Bachelorette? Anybody out there remember who he is? Why don't you type it in right there before I read off his credentials, and you will be very, very surprised. Let me see. Anybody remember him from The Bachelorette? Jason Tartick. Let's see who remembers me. Somebody said I look way too stressed. I got some sleep last night. Thank you so much. Yes, you remember it. You remember it. Thank you. All right. All right. All right. So here he goes. I'm going to read this off to you before he gets on. So Jason was a corporate banker who became a contestant on ABC's my favorite network, Bachelorette, and is now a consultant, speaker, and investor. Founder of Restart, a consulting company, vlog and blog centered around information and inspirational niche life hacks. Jason produces weekly 3 to 7 minute tutorials, blogs centered around tips, tricks, and tricks for health, wealth, happiness, from the perspective of a former corporate banker who became a reality star. Has co-hosted shows like Yahoo Finance and Live from E, and has also appearances on several shows and networks, including The Today Show, Fox News, CNN, and Good Morning America. Owns Red Ridge Capital, LLC, a business investment company that privately invests and lends money to companies, and Red Ridge Consulting, thank you, Dyslexia, LLC, a marketing, media, and optimization consulting firm. So maybe he may even lend some of you money right now. So let me get him one right now. Let me look for him right here. Where's Jason at? Where's Jason at? Looking for there we go. There we go. All right. Come on, Jason. Jason Tartick coming on right now. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Daymond? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking time with me, man. Did you check out Matt?
What's that?
Did you check out Matt I was just talking to?
Oh, yeah. I'm literally taking notes on some of the e-commerce stuff you guys are talking about. I'm ready to go.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, listen, man, I thank you for spending some time with me, and I think that you can do it all a little bit or a lot of inspiration, information on the word pivot. Of course, I know that you already can give people a lot of the fundamentals and high level stuff about investing and stuff like that. We'll get into that. I know they hear enough of that crap from me, but I think right now, what I want to know though is reality star, the pivot. I always say that I think all of us. I've lived 20 lives because I've pivoted constantly. And right now, everybody watching you and watching me are in the middle of pivot. They're like, some people are like, man, I worked on this business for 20 years and I was finally about to retire, take money out, and guess what? There's nothing there. Why did I even do this, right? Some people are like, I wanted to start a business for the last 20 years, and you know what? I just invested on somebody else's dream for the last 10 or 15 years.
Right.
I'm going to do my own. And some people like right now, I don't know where I'm going to live or if I'm going to eat again. Right. So the pivot is real right now. right?
Yeah.
So how did you get onto the Bachelorette? Because you were a banker before that, right? A corporate banker.
I was a corporate banker. So before I even get into it, Daymond, thank you for having me. Amongst friends, families, colleagues, you're an inspiration. Your story is honestly fantastic. It's an honor to even be here. So thank you for that.
Thank you, brother. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, my story, it's interesting. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, so small town guy, and went to, a small liberal arts Division III school. And from there, navigated my way towards banking. And for me, like, it was just like, I was going to do anything to just get to the next level. I looked at life very linear, right? It was just like this ladder. Like, how do I keep going up and up and up? And for me, I got to where I thought, success was. And I think one of the problems is that my definition of success, I was just so worried about what other people define success as, that I was worried about success in other people's eyes as opposed to my eyes, right?
Right.
And so it took me 10 years and 7 relocations and over $100,000 in student school debt to figure it out. But I moved across the country from New York to Seattle, left every person I knew back home in chase of what I thought was success, only to find myself really like in an empty suit. Like I was living my life through my identity and my title and really not who I was. And it was ironic that at the time I was so lost financially. I was so strong. I was at my strongest point. But personally, I was so lost is when I got a call from ABC, The Bachelorette, to potentially go on the show. And, if they had contacted me probably a year or 2 years before they did, I would have been like, nope, I'm so linear focused. It's not going to happen. But I kind of had this realization of where I was at versus where I wanted to be. And knowing that like kind of others were leading my life as opposed to me leading my own life. And I said, you know what, the hell with it. I'm going to give this a shot, work on myself. And ironically enough, typical myself, I formalized this detailed memo to my boss. And in this memo, I went through old shows talking about like the elimination schedule. And I was like, listen, it's likely that 80% chance I'm back within 2 weeks. There is a 60% chance I'm back within 4 weeks. And I went through this whole breakdown of when I would likely be back to work. And it went up the chain all the way to the president of the bank. They approved me to go on the show, and I took a wild detour that's kind of changed my life dramatically and went on ABC's The Bachelor.
But, I mean, and thank you for the story. It's amazing. First of all, I think a lot of people here, or even myself, if I worked in a place and I was financially secure, bankers are known to be tight and stiff. They're supposed to be. They're not supposed to come in the room, woo, because you think that's the money, right?
Yep.
I don't know how many people here, because I'm on the fence. We already know how the story ended up, but what if I had just heard that story and I said, how many people here would take you seriously if you're a banker and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I want to go on The Bachelorette? I mean,
for sure.
Your bosses or your clients, how many people here would have taken you seriously, or they would have said, sounds good, I think I need another banker now because this dude is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you understand what I'm saying? And especially when
for
you
sure.
have financial security, and it's not. I understand you went to liberal arts,
Yep.
but take it from another reality person.
Sure.
Thank God I'm on a show where we don't look at it as reality, we look at it as education and stuff like that. But somebody liberal arts, being on a reality show, not liberal arts, you're not out there acting or singing. You are out there at the mercy of a bunch of drunk people drinking and arguing with each other and crying.
No, I think it's honestly such a good question. I think it all comes down to you got to look at yourself like in the mirror and just say like, what do you really want out of life? And are you doing today what you always expected and what you imagined and what you want? And I wasn't happy with where I was at from a career perspective and just where I was at with what was next, location. So I was kind of a little bit lost. And so I had to pivot a little bit and take this very conventional life of like banking and be able to sell people on why I'm taking this transition and then be able to actually go into this world and be open. And what's interesting enough, Daymond, is that I actually went on the show. I went on the show for 2-3 months of filming, got off the show, and right away went back to work for about a year. So that was actually one of the most difficult transitions of going from your everyday banker, dealing with clients, companies that earn revenues $20 million, $100 million and greater, and acting as this serious conventional banker, conservative, politically correct. But then, on Monday nights during the summer, all this is being aired. I'm going out and they're talking about me kissing and dating this girl and all this stuff. And my worlds really started colliding, and it was crazy. And I think you bring up a really good point. And the truth of it all is that there was a point where those two worlds collided. And I had to make a decision. Do you want to pursue A or B? Because you can no longer, I can't live this polished, politically correct life and then live this other life where I'm trying to open up and, drive change through my experiences and get to where, the messages were starting to collide. So I had to make a decision. And at one point, this world outweighed this world, and this world was going to give me what I thought I would get out of corporate banking, traditional blueprint route. So it caused a huge disruption and detour, and it changed things.
100%. So listen,
Yeah,
I get it. So go to school for liberal arts, boom, become a banker. Doing well as a banker, boom, become a reality star. As a reality star, boom, now you're back to being a banker. But even just in the questions right here, I can't even repeat some of the questions right here that they're asking. It's like, how many of the girls did you bang? Did you find free love? Did you find love? Oh, wow, you're not wearing a ring. I guess not. So I can't even imagine the conversation you were having in the room. And by the way, somebody on here said bankers are fun people. They used to be a banker.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm just saying that bankers present themselves conservative.
100%.
But I have spoken for a massive amount of financial institutions and banks, and the after party, they are the wildest people.
They're crazy.
They get it in. I know already. I guess crunching all those numbers give them all that anxiety. And teachers too. Woo! But anyway.
And teachers. Yeah.
So you go back into this world. Now, most of us right here would have said, now I'm going to go back in this world, and now I'm either the joke or I can't get to my business because they want to know so much about this, or maybe now that you have a little bit of fame, they want to talk to you more because if you really think about people, they just want to be around people they're comfortable with and they like to talk to. And I know Magic Johnson always says, he goes, I hate stars, athletes that walk in a room and somebody wants to talk about their athleticism or their history and they go, no, I'm not here for that. Magic says, I like to walk in there and I tell them the stories about fights with Larry Bird and all this type of stuff and the scariest times of my life and contracting AIDS and stuff like that. And then after about 20 minutes, I go, all right, guys, we've talked about this. Now let's get down to some business. And people are like, bet, let's get down to some business.
Let's do it.
You see
Exactly.
what I'm saying? So
I see exactly what you're saying.
pivot.
Well, I mean, you touched on so many important things right there. And first of all, I think one of the things that I hear when I hear the Magic Johnson story, and I hear some of the stories I've heard from you in previous podcasts, and something I learned after I went on a reality TV show is that vulnerability is the most efficient tool in the world, whether it's business, whether it's professional, personal. The more open and honest you can be with yourself and with others, the more you're going to empower people to do things. And people could realize we're not these robots, right? There is this world that this message that I want to get out there. If there's one thing I get out there, it's like, break this damn blueprint that society has asked us to all adhere to, right? So I was living in this blueprint. I was the robot that said, hey, Jason, 6-figure signing bonus. I'm going to give you the title, everything you want. Just go move 3,000 miles and do what I tell you to do. You're my puppet. Okay, let me go. I was running this blueprint that's been put in place. And I think one message I've learned through all of it is that we need to break the blueprint because this traditional blueprint that's in place just isn't working, right? If you look at student debt rates or student debt is at the highest amount it's ever been, $1.6 trillion in debt amongst 45 million Americans, right? You look at divorce rates, you look at just like all indicators of success. And I think as a country, as a nation, we aren't achieving those. Our happiness levels are at all-time lows, and this is pre-pandemic. So my point is that whatever this like traditional blueprint, like the stereotypes, right, of bankers and all these things that are in place, they need to be broken. We have to lead the life that we imagine rather than leading, living the life that, we have to lead it ourselves is what I'm trying to say. And I think to your point is you nailed on a few things. And I think vulnerability is efficient. I think being open sells, and I think just talking real with people as opposed to the script, as opposed to the way we're supposed to act and supposed to talk and supposed to look is really what's going to move the needle forward and put you and everyone else in a better position to succeed.
I think those are perfect points because I want people right now, the slate is pretty much clean for most people and they can restart their lives, reset their lives, readjust their lives. What are they going to do to add their twist of what it is that they are to what they want to be? And I'll give you an example. When we came out with our clothing brand, there was a few people out with clothing brands, and I look up to Caulk and I and Cross Colors and Walk Wear a couple of people, but it never was really done in my neighborhood. And when and a lot of my friends were kids who were hustlers and drug dealers, and trust me, I know that obviously I'm a little bit older than you, but in 1988, 1989, and rap and hip hop, I was selling to rap and hip hop kids, right?
Yeah.
At that time, that was a very homophobic culture, right? That was cool, right? To say you're gay or you're a homosexual. We don't do that, right? And at that time, clothing was really only done by men that you see are like Versace and men who are a little flamboyant, right? And who happen to be from Europe and so when I started to say to my drug dealer friends, I'm not selling drugs. I will not sell drugs. I got a pattern of strawberries that I'm going to make into hats right now. They stopped hanging out with me. They thought I was gay.
Right.
So I had a couple of issues with that. First of all, I don't want to sell drugs. I don't need to hang out with you. Second of all, I'm not gay. And if I was gay, I would have no problem with that. Who cares about person's sexuality? And third of all, I'm having fun. And by the way, when I'm selling those hats and T-shirts, I'm actually meeting a lot of girls, right? So
it's working out.
It's all working out. For me, it was a secret, and they didn't know. I was going onto the video sets and putting the shirts on rappers, and then talking to the video girls and eating all the food that was on the sets. I was having a good time. So what I did was I retrained myself of the way that the business should be perceived. Why can't a young person of color make clothing who are straight, who does not care about people's sexuality? And that's where I am. Okay, a lot of brands came after that, and we call them Me Too, but who are the people here watching right now who's just like you, who's just like Jason, who is saying, I'm going to redefine how this is done, and I'm going to do it my way. You know what I mean? Like all the music artists that come out who do it their way. You know what I mean? And you go, wow, later on you go, oh yeah, Lady Gaga is not the sexiest thing alive, but holy shit, or Adele, or
kicking ass.
Oh my God, Sam Smith sounds like the most soulful person I've ever heard in my life, and do it their way. How so what do you think the steps are? Are there any steps when you're doing inventory on yourself and saying I'm going to do it my way? Because I know you said you were very analytical on how you sent it up to your boss. So if we think right now, how do you give somebody some steps right now to do it their way?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, you hit on so many things that just drive me and get me excited. And I think about some of the things you said, and you go in this category, right? But Pope Francis, that guy was a nightclub bouncer, right? That's a crazy thing about, and now he's the Pope. Whoopi Goldberg worked at a funeral home, right? There's Brad Pitt was driving a limo for strippers when he was getting his career going. Daymond John worked at Red Lobster and the popcorn stands and things. And so I think at the end of the day, like, change is constant, right? It's consistent. If there's one thing we learned through this pandemic, it's that change is never going to stop. And I think there's going to be a new normal coming. That's just my personal prediction. And that we, as opposed to letting change be a deterrent, to take us down, to derail us, we have to use it, I think, as an opportunity to move forward. We have to use it as a launch pad to move forward. So what I would tell anyone out there, whether you experience a change in your relationships, a change in your job, a change in your boss, your career path, it's not a bad thing. Like, this is, so the first step here is to realize that change is a good thing. It can create new opportunities. This whole quarantine process, I've totally changed the way I'm doing things, and I've started a company through it. So my point is like, I think when you are in some type of pivotal change, the first thing you got to do, and I'm curious your opinion on this too, is you really got to peel the layer back. Because if you're complaining or there's something going on in your life or change, we all can bitch and moan, but we really got to drill down and understand what the issue is. And I think at the core, when we're stuck professionally, we're usually stuck because of a couple things. We're just not motivated. We don't have passions that are aligned with what we're doing. Maybe we're not compensated the right way. Maybe it's that our skill set isn't, applied appropriately to what we're doing, whatever it may be. But I think the root of the problem is you got to see what it is that's really driving the reason you're stuck. And once you do that, right, you got to be honest with yourself. So I don't want to spin it back to you, but as a guy, I mean, I'm doing the talking and I've pivoted a few times in my life, but you have one thing that I just think is so remarkable, Daymond, is the way that you grew your career, right? But then once you grew your career and you became the CEO of FUBU and founder, and you blow up over $6 billion in sales, you then go on to the next thing. And then you go to the next thing. So I use the word launchpad, but I look at launchpad and I'm looking at the guy who, you wrote 4 books. You then become a television star. You then become a motivational speaker. You then become a consultant. So I'm going to answer the question the way I can, but I also want to ask you, how do you achieve such greatness within one competency and then pivot completely to be an author and a writer with dyslexia and take all these detours and then achieve max capacity in all those realms?
I think you're right. I think you first of all have to know your why and why do you want to do it, because like I said, I had that challenge when I was starting off with the t-shirts, and then when I wanted to write books, a lot of people said, I'm not going to help you with a book because you're dyslexic. How can a dyslexic person write books? And I just knew that I had to put 10 times more of myself into it. However, I also knew one thing: the books that are written, often they were books that were super analytical, really big words, super scientific. And I'm like, man, I just want to know how to become successful. I want you to talk to me like me and Cuban, or Cuban and I, or Barbara and I, or Richard Branson and I, or chilling at dinner, having some drinks, and and be like, yo, so, all right, so what do I do when I make my first million? I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear, here's a line, here's the this, that, over years. I don't want to hear that. Just talk to me simply. And that's when I knew that being dyslexic, I can speak simply. I also knew that if I take a public stage, and everybody can learn from this, because whether your public stage is 10,000 people, or as you know, it could be 2,000 people, it could be 2 people. I knew that I never wanted to say things out there that I wasn't 100% sure of, I didn't do my research on, and I didn't live in some way or another. So if I can show them something that stats have shown and said, listen, and here's my experience of that in my life. If somebody would say, if a professor would say, bullshit, I'd be like, no, not bullshit. That's my life, what I experienced, and the results I got out of it.
Sure.
Professor, I understand and value that you are brilliant and you have very clinical ways to come across this solution. But this is what I have experienced, and I'm only trying to share that with you.
For sure.
So I find that I did it for a passion. I took inventory of where are my assets and liabilities. My assets are that I've experienced these things. My liabilities are I can't speak about it on a super high clinical PhD level, so I'm not even going to try. And I think when people try to go out there and press on it, like you said, the blueprint of what they're supposed to do, I think that is where they hurt themselves. However, I also found that walking into the room, like you said, with compassion. When I speak at the big schools, I always say it before. And I told people this before. When I open up, I go, I'm not here to talk to you about micro and macro financing of the globe. I'm here to talk to you about what I've experienced and how you can apply this, because all the professors in this room, they can teach you that on a PhD level. I even have more that I can learn from these amazing professors. So thank you, professors, for sharing this with our students. And you know what the professors do? They start sitting up in their seats. So you take the anger out of all of them.
Right.
It's just like walking in a room in a negotiation, and you say, hey, I know we're talking about this stuff, and listen, I'm sure your plate is full and you're going through a lot personally as well. Are you okay? Because I don't even want to burden you with any of this stuff if I can't add value to you.
For
And then
sure.
somebody will say, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
Instead of somebody
Exactly.
else coming in, man, I'm screwed up at home and I need this deal because I.
Right, exactly. I mean, you nailed that. And the thing I take away too from everything you're saying, it's not the lessons that are taught in school, it's the lessons that aren't taught in school that really are what drive what we are doing every single day. And so when I started this company, Restart, when I started it, it applied to what kind of some of the stuff you're talking about. Pandemic hits, every headline, Dow Jones, S&P 500, markets tanking, markets tanking. So I just did a quick poll. Now my audience is it's relatively ages 18 to 34, mostly female driven, about 90% female, 10% male. But I just put it out
Is
there.
that
I
right?
said I want that's because of the show. But I put it out there. I'm just like, be honest with me, be real. If I say right now, describe the Dow Jones in 2 to 3 sentences, could you do it? Now, 250,000 people saw that. What percentage of those people do you think said, all right, I'm going to be honest, I can describe the Dow Jones in 3-4 sentences?
I don't know. I don't even know if I could do it.
Yeah, right. So the answer was 9%. 9% of the 250,000 said they could do it. So you got 91% of people who said, I don't even know what the damn Dow Jones is. And my takeaway from that is that there are just so many things in life. It's like things that you just mentioned, walking into a room, having good energy, negotiating, bringing the guards down, being open, being honest. Those are the things that'll push forward. And it's lessons that aren't taught in school that from every person I learn, all the mentors I have, whether I know them and have relationships like yourself that I learn from, it's like that is what really drives and moves things forward every single day. It's those lessons that you just can't learn in a textbook. You can't learn in a
Well,
textbook.
I know people, I know, and I appreciate you, man. I know people can learn on your podcast and all that stuff. And I know that I think Instagram only gives us an hour, and I want to make sure
Okay.
that we get this information out. So tell us
Yeah.
right now, and let's go through it slowly. Where can they find you besides obviously at Jason_Tartik, but where can they find you to learn more of this financial stuff and this inspirational stuff and how to pivot? Because I don't want them just to hear it from me. I want them to
Yeah.
hear from me, you, and so many other people. And you find that people are all kind of talking the same exact thing who aren't in cahoots with each other. There's got to be
Right.
something there to it. So where can they find you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think one of the things about like influence or leadership is like not only do you have to have the ability to lead, but you have to learn and be led by others. You're someone that I certainly look up to and that I feel as though I'm led by. So I appreciate that. But some of the stuff that we're doing, we're on YouTube. It's Restart with Jason Tartik. On that Restart channel,
Restart,
like
not restart.
restarting, right?
Restart.
So restart. And on there, what we do is 2 things. We do financial tutorials of just basics, things that you should know, how to eliminate your credit card debt, whether you're buying a car or leasing a car, some of the simple mechanics and things that other people won't teach you, you won't learn in a textbook. And then what we also do is we do real talk. So I talk to people like you, Daymond, and WWE stars and the CEO of Barstool Sports and all these people to understand not where they are today, but how they got there, how they launched their careers. And then we do one-on-one consulting with career counseling, financial management on jasontartik.com. And you could also find my personal Instagram, Jason_Tartik.
All right, and of course, a lot of people are just going to Google you and find all that. All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate all the great
Yes.
advice, and I hope everybody can take from you and me that they got to pivot and do it now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Daymond. I appreciate it.
Stay safe.
All the best. Stay healthy.
Well, there you go. I am just about done, and I have a hot date with a hot little girl in a bikini, in a bathing suit, right? Say hi to everybody. Hi. All right, everybody. So thank you so much, and remember, I'm on my way. What's on my face? I don't know. What is on my face? Oh, that's a I don't know, baby. Oh, I shaved myself. Come on. All right, everybody. So thank you so much, and remember, I'm on every Monday at I'm on tonight with Matt at 7 o'clock on the webinar. I'm on every Monday at 1 o'clock and on every Tuesday at 2 o'clock, like you just witnessed, with amazing, amazing people. I want you to take care of yourself. Remember, send in your questions or concerns or even power facts to me that you want me to discuss, or even power music that drives you, to Daymond. My name is spelled like Raymond with a D, at daymondjohn.com. And I want you all to stay safe. And if you have any great inspirational stories you can share with me on how you're pivoting and what you're doing, then share it with me. I want to highlight you. And all the best. God bless.